And let's welcome everybody who's here. And remember, you don't have to turn on your webcam. It's only if you'd like to. So you can have it on or off. Just make sure that your chat is on so that if you'd like to respond to a question, you can type into the chat instead of, or you can raise your hand, like I said, if your webcam is in fact on. So welcome Ashley and Christian. And we have a new student. His name is Corbin. And welcome Jeremy, Kaylee, Tyler, and Jack. And Jack, you're on your brother's computer, so if I call you Will, I'm really sorry. But you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so just quickly, briefly looking at our agenda here, I think it's always good for us to know why we're doing something and the purpose behind it. Oops, what did I just do? Sorry about that. Wow. I hit something and okay, there we go. Sorry, it's back. Um, and in Douglas County, we've been focusing a lot on something called our enduring understanding. And really, that's just a fancy way of saying what is the big picture for what we're doing and why are we doing it? And so, our enduring understanding is that humans use strategies to construct meaning. And when we're talking about a book club, we're talking about using reading strategies to make meaning of the book. Um, and all of us do it a little bit differently, and that's fine. The way that Kaylee reads a book and interprets the text is different than the way Jeremy might read the book and think about the author or think about the characters. Um, so really, it's kind of fun for us to all make sure that we communicate our ideas, that we collaborate with each other, that we think critically, and that we use a little bit of creativity when we do our book club jobs. And I hope it's pretty clear to you, but I'll just remind you if not. When we are doing our book club jobs, we are using reading strategies. And so it's really nice when we all communicate with each other and, at least give a compliment to the person who's presenting or share other ideas that maybe you thought of that they didn't. So we'll go ahead and get started. Just a really quick reminder on how to get to the book club site if you had forgotten. So I'll just show you a really easy way. If you go to your email, and it's going to look a little different because this is my email, but you're all going to have this across the top. You have all of these different icons that you can click on. If you just go to sites, this is a really simple way to find it. Go to sites, and it has been shared with you, so it will come up in your list. And like I said, my list is long. Yours won't be as long. You'll just find it right there and just click on it. The EDCSD Book Club. So when you click on the site, this is what should come up. So I would like everybody to just spend a minute and pull it up on your own computer. So you can see it from my screen. I know you can, but I want you to have it up on your own computer as well. So go ahead and do that now. When you're able to pull it up, I want you to type a happy face into the chat so I know you're ready. Okay, so go ahead and pull up the book club site. So Kaylee, I just kind of went over it. If you go to your email, you can go to that icon on the top that says sites, click on it, and you'll see it come up in your list. Okay, good job, Kaylee. Okay, so Christian's ready. It looks like we're all kind of getting there now. That's perfect. Ashley's ready. Fantastic. Okay, so last week we left off with a discussion question, and so we're going to start with that same discussion question this week. And then at the end of class, I have a new discussion question for you. In the middle of class is where we will share our book club jobs. So here we go. Go ahead and click on this with me if you are up on it. Click on discussion questions. And then on the bottom, find your book, which is called The Watsons Go to Birmingham, and click right there. Okay. So this is what will come up on your screen. All right. And our very first question was where we left off last week. And it was question number 1. So this is where we're going to start. What do you know about the civil rights movements of the 1960s? And I had a couple people respond, and maybe they would like to share verbally. And if you don't remember what you wrote, I can share it for you. But let's see. Kaylee, Kaylee S., would you like to share what you know about the civil rights movement of the 1960s? And your microphone's on, Kaylee, so you don't have to type it.
Me or the other Kaylee?
Nope, you, Kaylee S.
Okay, I don't really know anything about it.
And that's totally fine. That's exactly what she typed. So this book is going to give her a ton of background information about the things that in the 1960s that people were dealing with. Both black and white people were dealing with some really hard times, and the black people were fighting for rights that made them equal to the white people. And obviously, this was a lot more difficult for people in the southern states. That's where most of the problems happened, was in the southern states. Okay. And so don't worry about it if for whatever reason the site is not coming up for you right now. We will make sure that at the end of class, somehow, some way, you're able to find it. But for if you can't see it, like you can't pull it up on your own, just follow along on my screen. Okay. So Jordan, maybe you would like to just tell us verbally what you know about the civil rights movement.
Um, I can't think of anything right now, but I know something.
That's fine. What you wrote last week is that it's about black rights, and that's kind of what I just said.
Yeah.
It's about people fighting, black people fighting to have the same equality as white people. And then Tyler, let's see, is Tyler with us today? I don't think he is, but I'll share what he wrote. He wrote, the civil rights movement made many people uncomfortable. The black people of the United States wanted more rights as people. So they wanted not more rights, but the same rights as white people. And it made a lot of people uncomfortable because change is hard. Change is really difficult for a lot of people. And it was a lot of changes going on in the 1960s. So just kind of know that this is like the background history of the book that you're reading. Yes, there is a story about the Watson family and the characters and what they do, but the real background knowledge that you're going to be learning from this book is a lot about the civil rights movement and what this family experiences. Okay? Okay, so that was our discussion question from last week. If you did not have a chance to do that question, hopefully you will do that today. At the end of class, we will end with our new discussion question. So we'll come back to this. And let's move on to our jobs, what we did for chapters 1 through 4. And that's okay, Ashley. I know they don't have the book yet for you. Hopefully you'll be able to get it soon. And the good news is, Ashley, next week is Martin Luther King Day, which is kind of funny. It really ties into this particular book. Martin Luther King was a civil rights leader of the 1960s. Anyway, so Ashley, long story short, if you don't have the book yet, you have 2 whole weeks because we don't meet next Monday due to Martin Luther King Day. Okay? All right, here we go. So here is our book club schedule. And so what we were supposed to do is read chapters 1 through 4, and then here were all of the jobs that were assigned to us. I like to start with the summarizer because it just kind of refreshes everybody's memory of what you read. So Jordan, would you like to share your summary now?
Sure.
Okay, Jordan, would you like me to make you the
Um,
presenter so we can see your screen, or do you want to read it to us, or how would you like to do it?
I don't really care.
Well, did you type it? Because I can make you the presenter.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so I'm going to make everybody see Jordan's screen. So Jordan, you're going to see something that says make me the presenter and just click on that and then we can, okay, there it is.
Okay. So let me get it up. Hang on.
Okay. So this is a good lesson for everybody else. If you have a job that you have typed up, maybe you would like to spend just a minute pulling it up so you're ready to present.
Okay, never mind, it's here.
Okay.
Okay, so should I start?
Yep.
Okay. The book The Watsons Go to Birmingham by Christopher Paul Curtis, chapters 1 through 4, is about a young boy named Kenny who has troubles in school. Chapter 1 is about Kenny and his family suffering a freezing cold winter in their house, and later, Kenny's brother gets his tongue stuck to the car window. They got his tongue off by pouring hot water over his lips, but apparently it was too cold. As soon as the water touched the window, it froze. Kenny's mom solved the problem by pulling his tongue off the window. Chapter 2 is about Kenny getting bullied in school because of his cockeyed eye. Later, a new kid joins the school named Rufus, who wears raggedy, torn-up clothes and has a country accent. Kenny thinks Rufus is a savior from God who brought to him to be his friend. In Chapter 3, Kenny and his friend Rufus have a dinosaur war called the world's greatest dinosaur war ever. Kenny talks about his old friend named LJ, who stole all of Kenny's dinosaurs every time they played. Kenny likes playing with Rufus because Rufus doesn't steal his dinosaurs and is fair. Chapter 4 is about Kenny and his brother and sister getting bundled up with layers and layers of jackets and hats. They complained about how hot they were and how they hate taking everything off at school. Kenny also dislikes the layers of Kenny also dislikes taking the layers off of his little sister while she is sweating, like she jumped into a pool. At school, Kenny gets his gloves stolen from him by Larry Dunn. Kenny's brother gets his gloves back for him by beating up Larry Dunn. So far, The Watsons Go to Birmingham is an interesting and exciting book, and hopefully it stays that way.
Very nice. I really like how you broke up each one of those chapters into a different paragraph. That made it really clear for everybody to see. So I just have a couple more questions for the rest of the class that are summarizing type of questions. And so to answer this, everybody's microphone is on, so you can simply just speak up, or you can type your answers into the chat. So my first question for you that'll help with the summary a little bit more is what is the setting, the time and place of the story? Go ahead, Kaylee.
It's Flint, 1963. Well,
Yeah,
they're in Flint.
that's right. Flint, Michigan, 1963. So, and it was obviously in the winter is where they kind of started off the story. So it's very cold in Michigan in the winter. Good. And like we said, we're going to learn a lot about the civil rights movement of the 1960s. So it's important to know that this is happening in 1963. Good. Okay, my next question is what does Kenny believe the neighbors secretly call his family? Jeremy, do you remember?
Weird Watsons?
The Weird Watsons. Yeah, he believes that they actually call his family the Weird Watsons. So, and thank you, Christian, for also typing that into the chat. Yeah, so that can't feel good. It feels like his family is different than everybody else's. That's another important theme of the book. Okay, my next little question for you. From what you know about Byron, what are a couple of his personality traits? What is he like? Go ahead, Kaylee.
Bullying people?
Yeah, he's a bully. This is the older brother, and he's a bully, and he seems like he's kind of arrogant. Arrogant means kind of full of himself, right? So he thinks very highly of himself. Um, Last little summarizing question for you. What are a couple of the problems that Kenny is facing at school?
Hmm.
Jack, do you have any ideas? And Kaylee typed one answer into the chat, and that's a fantastic answer. Yeah, mostly he's getting bullied. That's like his main problem that he's having at school, definitely. And so when his new friend Rufus comes to school, he feels like he's been sent from God because he is actually a nice kid, and he finally has a friend. Okay. All right, fantastic job, Jordan. Let's move on. Do we have any other volunteers to go next? Okay, Jack, and let's see. Jack, you were our discussion director. So Jack has some questions for us to make us think a little bit deeper. So Jack, do you want to be the presenter or do you just want to share them verbally?
Well, I wrote them down, so I'll just share them verbally.
Okay.
Um, what do you think the Watsons think about Hambone?
Okay, so that's a question for everybody. Say it again, Jack.
What do you think the Watsons think about Hambone?
Any ideas? And remember, you can type anything you are thinking into the chat as well, because I have that open and I'll read it for you. What were you thinking, Jack, when you wrote that question?
I was thinking that the Watsons thought he was mean. That I thought he was mean, but they had to accept it because a friend.
Okay. Anybody want to add to that? I'm getting somebody with a lot of background noise. I'm not sure who it is. Okay. Let's move on to Jack's second question.
My second question is, if you were
Nice and
Kenny,
loud, Jack.
if you were Kenny, what would you do about Byron being stuck to the car mirror?
Okay, so if you were Kenny, what would you do about, I'm sorry, say it again, what being stuck to the car?
Kenny's brother stuck to the car mirror.
Right. So what would you do about it if that happened to your brother? Anyone? Kaylee, yes, I can probably answer for you, I'm sure. What would you do if Tyler got stuck to the car?
I'd probably laugh and then go tell my parents.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking you would do. um, yeah, it's actually kind of a serious injury if it's not taken care of correctly. But yeah, okay. So anybody else, would you do anything other than laugh or well, you know what? I think this question is really dependent on what kind of relationship you have with your brother. Um, if it's a good relationship, maybe you would feel a little bit worse about it. All right, Jack, what was your next question?
My third and final question is, why do you think Kenny is such good friends with the new kid that came to the school? I forgot his name.
Rufus.
Yeah, Rufus.
So why do you think he is a true friend with Rufus?
Yes.
Or even what makes Rufus, I think it is, a true friend?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what makes Rufus such a good friend of her Kenny?
What do you guys think, Kaylee?
Because he's fair and doesn't cheat in games.
Yeah, Rufus is a good friend because he's fair and for once doesn't bully Kenny and doesn't cheat in the games, right? So this new kid is kind of a really good thing for Kenny in his life. He's really happy to have him. Go ahead, Jeremy.
He always has a smile on his face.
Yeah, he always has a smile on his face, and that just shows right away that he's a friendly, approachable kind of person. Perfect. All right, Jack, you had some really great questions for us. Thank you. And guys, don't be afraid to speak up when you want to add to those questions. And I know Ashley and Corbin were not able to get the book yet, so that's totally fine. We'll skip on. And Kaylee P. It's Kaylee Pruitt. Are you ready, Kaylee, to share a couple connections that you made? Your microphone's on, Kaylee, so you can speak. Kaylee P, we can hear
Do
you.
you
So
want me? Yeah, sorry. I forgot to-
no problem. Go
you
ahead.
want me to start now? Okay.
I would love
One
for
of
you
my
to. Yeah.
connections is when I was little, I got my hand stuck on a pole, like Kenny's brother got his lips stuck on the mirror.
Oh no, what happened, Kaylee? How did you get off the pole?
Uh, I don't remember.
Oh no. So what kind of connection did you just make, Kaylee? Is that a text to self, text to text, or text to world?
Text to self.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that happened to you personally. Good. Anybody else want to comment on that connection or have something similar of their own? I hope not, because that's kind of painful. Oh, go ahead, Kaylee S.
My
Um,
brother licked a doorknob when it was freezing cold outside, and
Oh,
his tongue got stuck.
oh boy. That would that be Tyler,
My older brother.
your older brother? Oh, God. How funny. Ashley, go ahead.
In the movie A Christmas Story, the kid, I don't remember his name, all his friends double dog dare him to lick the pole and he gets stuck.
That's exactly right. Ashley, what type of connection did you just make?
I don't know, it'd be a text itself because it's a movie. Would it
Yeah.
be? Is it a movie? Would everybody see it?
Since it's a movie, it would be, I would call it text to text, which is kind of like a book to book, but book to a movie is kind of similar to that. So yeah, you just made a text to text connection. That's perfect. Kaylee P, what other connections did you make?
the other one is I don't like winter like Kenny.
Okay, so that's another text to self connection. I think a lot of us can relate to not enjoying winter maybe as much as other seasons. Anybody else want to say yes to that? Or, yeah, probably so. You don't get to do as much in the winter unless you're a big snowboarder or something. So, very cool. All right, Kaylee P, that was a great job. All right, let's move on. Jeremy. Oh, Jeremy paused. Bummer. Kaylee S., let's skip to you. You were the quotable quoter. So, Kaylee S.'s job was to find interesting parts of the book. And for those of you who are new and are wondering, how do they know what to do for all of these different jobs? Here's where you would find the description. So, you'll click up here, and I'll click on what Kaylee is about to share with us right now, which is quotable quoter. Okay? So her job is to pick at least two parts of the story that she wants to read out loud. So she could have picked maybe something that struck her as a funny part, as a really interesting part, a good description, or whatever the case is. So Kaylee, and it's also helpful if you can always tell us what page you found it on so other people can flip to that page. But go ahead and share with us, Kaylee.
Okay. Page 12. I thought it was funny when Brian got his lips stuck on the mirror. Wreck the
And
car.
why is that more funny that it was Byron that got his lips stuck to the car than Kenny? Why is it more funny that it was Byron?
Because he's so full of himself, he kissed the mirror, and when he did, his lips got stuck.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more funny that when, somebody who is as arrogant and really as mean as Byron is the one who gets his lips stuck. It's just more funny when it happens to somebody who's not very nice. Does anybody else agree? Yeah, I think so too. All right, Kaylee, that's fantastic. Share another part with us.
Page 20. I thought it was interesting when Byron was told to be like a god at school.
So why was that interesting to you?
I don't know. I just thought it was weird and interesting.
And why was he thought of as a god at school? Anybody can answer this. Jack?
It was because he was a sixth grader and one more popular.
Yeah, he was a sixth grader and he was more popular. And it seems like he got attention for doing bad things, which is not a good thing. But he did get a lot of attention for the way he treated people. So that's kind of what made him stand out to everybody else. Okay? All right. Great job, Kaylee. I like those parts. All right. We'll go back to our schedule and we are at Jeremy. My friend Jeremy. Let's see, where are you? Here you are. You were the word wizard, Jeremy. So, did you have a chance to find some different words to share with us? Okay, Jeremy, we're listening.
Ooh, where's my word? Um, okay. Ooh, okay. I found a zillion on page 1. It just sounded very weird, different
A
to me.
zillion. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a zillion definitely is a different word. It's not a real word at all. But what does a zillion mean? It means a lot, right? It
Like
means,
they use it as an over exaggeration of a number, but it's like a number over a billion, or
right.
kind of.
Right. So, it's like the biggest number ever imaginable. Perfect. Okay. Next word.
Icebox was found on page 5. At first, I thought it was a box of ice, but it's actually a box for ice. What they did back when fridges weren't invented, they put ice in a box and they put their food in there, and that's how they kept it cold.
Yeah. Did anybody else know that? I mean, think of when this book was written. It was written in the 1960s. And so having a refrigerator with a freezer was kind of like an odd thing. So an ice box is what they would use to keep their food cold and keep their food fresh. So I'm sure you kind of looked at that and you're like, that's kind of strange to think of a life without a freezer. Think of life without a microwave. They didn't have those either. So that's even more strange. Very good, Jeremy. Keep going.
I found delinquent on page 8. I think it means someone who does not follow the law.
I think you're exactly right. So, who is the delinquent in this particular book?
Oh man, I think it was Buffhead. I think, yeah, that was Buffhead.
You can call on
Who
Jack. He wants to help you out.
Jack? It was Kyle's brother and Kyle's brother's friend.
Yeah, or his name's Kenny. Kenny's brother Byron is the one that they call a delinquent, right?
And Buffhead.
Yeah, very good, Christian. He typed it into the chat for us so you can see how it's spelled. Perfect. All right. What was your next word, Jeremy?
Embarrassed, found on page 12. It looks and sounds interesting.
Embarrassed?
Yeah. It's
So what
like
does it
I
mean to
think it
be
means
embarrassed?
I think it means to be uncomfortable in a situation, about a situation, I should say.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Who can come up with an example who's not too embarrassed to share an example of a time you were embarrassed?
It should
Anybody have anything? Have you ever walked out of a bathroom with toilet paper stuck to your shoe or something, or been walking down the street and you notice that maybe your shirt wasn't tucked in right or something. So those are just, kind of all embarrassing type of situations. What was going on with the character in the book, Jeremy? Why were they embarrassed?
I don't think I can remember that.
Does anybody else remember?
I have short-term memory loss.
Okay. If you have the book, you can turn to that page. What page was it on?
Page 12.
Why
Where I
don't you
found.
read a little bit more of that book or that paragraph and see if you could figure it out for us?
I was too embarrassed about getting tricked to tell. Yes, on he was embarrassed. Ah, over.
No, you're doing great. He was embarrassed because he got tripped, right? Somebody tripped him and he probably fell on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Did you have any more words for us, Jeremy?
I have 6. I have 2 more.
Okay.
Vaseline, found on page 19. I
Okay.
think it might be some sort of lotion. I picked this word because I didn't know what it meant.
Oh, okay. Has anybody seen Vaseline before? Like those little tubs, it's like a little yellow tub and you use it like when your skin's really dry. Go ahead, Kaylee.
It wasn't until my mom told me.
I'm pretty sure it's another thing that goes into your car.
Um, well, I'm not sure if Vaseline goes into your car, but gasoline goes in. Um, so if you're talking about Vaseline, it's kind of that stuff that's like really heavy duty type of lotiony type stuff that people use, like when your skin is really cracked. What were they doing to use the Vaseline in the story, Jeremy?
When when they pulled his lips off the car,
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying not to smear it because he had the Vaseline put on it by his mom. So it was
Right.
just really weird and
Yeah, they had to
terrible.
use it on his lips because after they pulled it off from being frozen to the mirror, obviously your lips are going to get kind of chapped and dry. Perfect. And what was your last word?
Oh, radioactiveness,
Oh,
found on page 39. It's kind of means deadly toxic poison.
and
I
what
picked
were
this
they
one.
using it for? How did they use it?
Oh man, 439. Wow. The radioactiveness. Wow. They were playing with dinosaurs, I think, and they're separating the radioactive ones from the other ones so they wouldn't get infected.
Right. So they were just pretending that some of
Yeah,
them were
they're
radioactive.
pretending.
Okay. And I agree. That is a very cool word. So you did a great job. Thank you.
Like I do all the time with my Legos.
There you go. All right. Let's see. Did everybody have a chance who was able to get the book? Did everyone have a chance to present? I think they did. I think we got everybody, which is really good timing. Let me just show you what your schedule looks like. This is kind of, oh, why is it taking so long? I'm assuming it's going to come up eventually. But next Monday is the 21st, and that is Martin Luther King Day, which ties in directly to this book, by the way. The civil rights, movement was led mostly in part by Martin Luther King. So we will not have a book club VC or any VCs on next Monday because it's a day off of school. Okay, so you'll notice that there is nothing on the 21st. So you're going to have 2 weeks to complete your next assignment. And I'm not going to double your assignment. I'm going to keep it the same. Okay. So you'll notice that the next time we do our book club VC won't be until the 28th of January. Go ahead, Ashley.
Since I didn't do my job for this week, do you want me to do my job for this week and next week?
No, what I would prefer you do is just spend a lot more time on the job that you're going to present next time. Okay. All right. So you need to know two things. You need to know what chapters you're reading. And then obviously here are the jobs that you're going to be responsible for that 2 weeks from now. You're going to be reading chapters 5 through 8. So those students who have not got the book yet, I guess you're going to have to read chapters 1 through 8. But it's not a very long book, so don't stress about it. And like I said, you have 2 weeks instead of 1 week to do that. So that should help out a little bit. Here's where we are going to end today. All of you who have been able to pull up the book club site, I would like you to click on discussion questions. Go back to the Watsons Go to Birmingham. And if you were able to complete your question from last week, all you're going to need to do is say, done last week. Or if you were not able to do it, then you're going to have to do it now. But here's the question that I would like you all to do for this week. Do you think it was a good idea for Kenny to tell Byron that Larry Dunn stole his gloves? Why or why not? So I want you to tell me if you think it was a good idea for Kenny to tell his older brother Byron, who's a bully, who stole his gloves and why. Okay? So that's where we're going to leave off for today. Are there any questions before I let you go? No? Is everybody able to access the book club site? Yeah? Yes? Okay. If you're not, I need you to, okay, so I will make sure that I share it with you, Corbin, so that you're able to, and you too, Jordan. I'll just send it to you again in your Gmail. So just watch in your Gmail in the next couple minutes and you will be able to click on the link. Okay?
Could you send it to me too?
Yep, you too. Everybody. So, all right, guys, give me a wave goodbye. Bye. Happy Monday. You all did a great job today. Good job.